Hello, everyone. Good morning, and welcome back to Total Football Talk. So we're going to look at all the latest news coming out of Manchester United, and there is just oodles and oodles of news. It just keeps flowing like the Amazon River. We just keep on going with the news. Thanks for joining me. I'm Keith. I'm the host of this little channel. We'll look at the top headlines, and obviously there's a shock return from Jadon Sancho potentially to Manchester United. So we'll look at what information we have on that. There's a potential extension of Harry Maguire's contract to 2027. We'll take a little kind of look into that, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on Sancho, Maguire, the new stadium. What do you think of it? And we'll also look at what Omar Berrada has said. I've got a little video on kind of his take on Manchester United and what the new stadium will bring in terms of supporters, etc. So we'll have a quick look at that. We'll also look at what James Ducker is saying in the Telegraph about how this could potentially be built in 5 years, and how, the kind of setup that they're going to run to make sure that everything's kind of shipped in to make the stadium available in the next kind of 5 years or so. Because normally it takes 10 years according to the architect. And so those are the main stories. Let me just check I've not missed anything. Oh yeah, and there was like the statement from the 1958 group is pretty interesting on the stadium too, so we'll have a look at that right at the end. But this is where we will start. But before I forget, if you are, just let me know what your thoughts are on the stadium. Obviously, everything's done the rounds yesterday. I didn't really comment on it too much. Everyone else was doing it, so no one needs to hear from me on it. So please drop your comments in below. Are you on it? Do you like it? Do you like the concept? People are talking it looks like a circus. And some people are absolutely loving it. I'd love to hear what your views are. I don't really know yet. I haven't. This hasn't settled properly for me. Some of the images I think look impressive, and then I can get the clown thing, and I could see how that could become a meme over many years. But obviously, it's we have to move forward. Personally, I would have loved to see them renovate Old Trafford and do it that way, but they obviously want a new shiny stadium. And is that are we going to be detracted from everything on the pitch and be given this new stadium in 5 years? And how long is it going to take to pay it back, etc.? But look, that's all questions for maybe a complete podcast by itself. But we'll just look at the latest news coming out of Manchester United. And according to the Daily Mail, there remains a possibility that Sancho could return to Old Trafford this summer if Chelsea decide to back away from the deal, though this would mean coming a significant financial cost as per the terms of the agreed contract with United. So, and there's been factors that have been complicated in terms of this negotiation, and typically when a player joins a club on loan with an obligation to buy, personal terms are agreed in advance to ensure a seamless transition. However, the reports claim that the 24-year-old has not reached an agreement with Chelsea regarding long-term wages and other terms. Jadon Sancho coming back to Manchester United. I mean, we've had a turbulent relationship with Jadon Sancho since he's arrived. He's never really kind of lived up to his expectation. He came with a big price tag, 73 million. I remember back in the days when Dortmund actually were looking for 100 plus million. It was around 120 million. And then at the time, we almost felt like we were getting not a bargain, but a reduced fee when we got him for in and around the 73 million pound mark. Unfortunately, he just hasn't lived up to any of these expectations. He's also gone on to Chelsea and not been able to kind of provide anything. Obviously, he had a stint at Dortmund, which was quite successful. He made the Champions League final. On his road to the Champions League final, people would have you believe that he was sensational. He had a couple of very good games, and maybe a half in some particular games where he played well. But he was fits and starts, which he was for Manchester United, and for Chelsea, he kind of had a few flashes at the beginning, and then he disappeared into the ether, and he's gone 25 games, I believe, without a goal or an assist. So his form has fallen off a cliff. Chelsea have maybe realised that the player that they had anticipated coming to the club hasn't quite lived up to the expectations, and he is not delivering anymore on the pitch either. And I would just love to know what's going on in the background, because obviously we know that he was bad timekeeping. His attitude for training maybe wasn't what it should be, according to what Erik ten Hag had said. Erik ten Hag talks about players can't maybe take criticism. I wonder if he was leaning into Jadon Sancho on that. Chelsea obviously now are at a point where they maybe don't want to have to do this deal. Now, if Jadon Sancho comes back to Manchester United, obviously we will recoup some money for him, because obviously within the deal, if they break the deal, they'll have to pay us. But it means we then have a player coming back that who I can't imagine Rubin Amorim wants him, because I don't know if he works hard enough for the team. And also, we know that he doesn't want to be at Manchester United. So if he does come back, how do we get rid of him? How does he actually get taken off the books? I don't know. I actually no idea how we could, if we were hoping the deal would be 25 million to sell him. With monetization, we would then get 12 million from his contract, freed up of pure profit, and that could be used somewhere else, probably to service debt. As we know, the debt's rising, so that probably would have went there, or some of it anyway. But at least some of it would have been going in to potentially help the club somehow. If he comes back to us, what do you think? Do you want him back? Does anyone think there's a player in him? Does anyone think that he could come and do a job for Rubin Amorim in that 10 role? I mean, maybe he could come back and surprise us, but I don't think so. But yeah, we will just have to wait and see on that one. So there's news breaking also that from Rudy Galetti that Bayern Munich and Real Madrid are monitoring Diogo Dalot's current situation. And yeah, just 1 second, guys. Sorry, I just need to plug in my laptop here. It's off and on. There we go. Yeah, so obviously Bayern Munich and Real Madrid are interested in Dalot. So we know that Bayern Munich, or that Real Madrid, definitely are looking for a fullback, because obviously they've been linked heavily with Trent Alexander-Arnold, and we know that Bayern Munich are also looking for a fullback too. So, I mean, Dalot's versatile. This season he's had a couple of good games, but he's fallen off a cliff. He's had some poor games. He's had some poor moments. The miss against West Ham, whenever practically was the helping of Ten Hag getting sacked. He's had a turbulent season. He had a good season last season. I think he's a good fullback. I think he's still at a good age where, he's still quite young, Dalot, even though he's been around a long time. He's a leader in the dressing room, according to Ronaldo. He trains well, and he's good with the fans. He's got a lot of characteristics that you may like as a player. He can play on both sides. How effectively, I'm not entirely sure. We've seen little flashes where he can do okay going forward. Then we've seen defensively he can do well, but he's got a mistake in him, and he also sometimes doesn't maybe crosses in when he should do when he attacks. But there's a good player there. I think maybe, is he worth keeping for United as a utility player? Maybe at this particular stage, I don't know if we can let him go, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does go. And yeah, obviously, it's interesting that Bayern Munich and Real Madrid, two top European clubs, are interested in him. And obviously, if he was to go, we only bought him for £19 million. So, we could make a reasonable profit on that, and maybe that money would go back into the squad. But again, get your thoughts in. What do you think? Do you think Dalot should go? Do you think he should stay? Would you like to see us? How much money do you think he's worth? I mean, 35-40 million, I reckon something like that would be decent. Okay, and then this was another one that has been doing the rounds. Excuse me. Harry Maguire is Manchester United are apparently keen to extend Harry Maguire's contract to 2027. Now, tell me, what do you think about Harry Maguire being extended for another year? So obviously he's extended next year. We've got the potential to extend him again. Do we think that's just to keep him around for experience, to help some of these younger players that are coming through, like Euro and Heaven? Or do you think that he'll be on 190 grand, he'll be on over 200 plus grand a week if we get back into Europe? Will we get back into Europe? Is that the thinking, that we maybe don't have to spend an outlay on a transfer and we just pay his wages to keep ourselves within kind of PSR and FFP limits? Is it easier to keep Harry for one more year than it is to let him go and just have that experience round? Because we're going to lose Lindelof, we're going to lose Johnny Evans probably in the summer. They're going to walk for free, and maybe they're just thinking keeping a little bit of experience around, and Harry Maguire might be worth it, having him being able to throw him on for the last 20 minutes of a game if you're looking to sort of sew things up at the back, or you're looking to maybe, I don't know, you're desperate for a goal and you need a striker. I know he's been used before up front, obviously not very effectively, but yeah, get your thoughts in. Would you like to see Harry Maguire stay or not? I'm not sure about that one. So this is Omar Berrada. He was talking about the stadium, and we're not closing any doors, and we obviously want the stadium to bring additional income so we can invest in the team. And there's already a lot of interest from big brands who want to associate their brand with ours and the new stadium. There's a lot of talk about brands and a lot of talk about fans, and opening up to 100,000 seater stadium. That means fans who have season tickets can stay, and it gives the extra seats will offer the opportunity for supporters from around the world to still be able to come to the games as well. Really, really interesting take. My fear is there's not a lot of talk about what we're actually doing on the pitch, and that is probably more important in the long run, because great to have a new stadium. Spurs do it well, bring in pop concerts, NFL, make tons of money. Daniel Levy is great for that, but look where Spurs are. They're not much further up the table than us. Haven't won a trophy in donkeys. Absolutely have some good players, but there's no desire or will for them to push on and win trophies. And I just don't want Manchester United to fall into that category of beautiful stadium, beautiful traction, but unable to actually kind of live up to the past and trying to win trophies, especially Premier Leagues, and even kind of pushing for Champions Leagues, if that's ultimately where we want to be, is fighting on those forefronts of those of trophies. And I don't want us to slip away and disappear into, just another team that makes money and profit from various different sporting events and arena tours, while, the team suffers on the pitch. So we've got to be really, really careful here, and keep an eye on how this actually all fully operates. And then finally, I'm just going to wrap it up on James Ducker talked about how Manchester United are actually going to do this. And he says it could take 160 components constructed mechano-like, transported to Manchester via the shipping canal to build Manchester United's new 2 billion stadium, complete with 200 masts visible from, sea 25 miles away, and 104 square meters of glass and steel umbrella, and a 260 acre site. So obviously the whole stadium build is obviously there. I think they're going to try and incorporate Manchester as much as possible, the shipping canals, to bring in all the raw materials. They are looking at putting the kind of glass dome on it, and making it like an umbrella, and believe that they're going to make it in such a way that it's all sort of eco-friendly and gathers rainwater, and that rainwater is used to kind of run the stadium. Fascinating the way the architecture could run. I mean, what do you think of the stadium? Do you like it? Do you think that this is something that you would like to go? As I said, this is all amazing when we can get caught up in it, shiny new toy. But what's most important to me is what we're doing on the football field, not necessarily having the best stadium in the world. If we can have the best stadium in the world and the best football team in the world, absolutely amazing. But I don't know if they're mutually exclusive things. And right now, we've got neither. So yeah, we'll just have to see. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you very much for listening. I went over a little bit. I'm Keith. Please drop me a like and subscribe if you would. And I will see you tomorrow with whatever else transpires in the world of Manchester United, because I'm sure there'll be plenty. Thank you very much for listening.